Okay, so what we're going to cover today, we're going to cover the documents that you need in operating your school, stay in compliance once the state board approves you. There are certain documents that you're going to need when a student walks in your school. So the first thing that we're going to start off with is the student enrollment agreement. Some people call it a student contract. Now, looking at this in red, it says school name, address, city, state, zip. So basically what you're going to do, you're going to put your school name, address, city, state, zip. Now, when a student comes in, they must fill out this enrollment agreement before they start school. So even if they start on the same day, they still need to fill it out a couple of minutes before they start school. A lot of schools have this dated before the student actually starts. So now, if we're looking at this, name, social, we see all of that. Now, where it has red, you will put your school name. Very simple. Programs. It's either going to be Barber, Instructor, Cosmo, Nails, Aesthetics, Lashes, whatever it is that you teach. You're going to put these programs here. You can just line them up. If you need to scoot this up, you can. Now, however many hours you have, you can put that here, whether it's full-time, part-time, application fee, the tuition, books and kit, total tuition. Now, now let's break this down. The tuition, a lot of people get this confused, total tuition and tuition. Total tuition is very important. Total tuition is application fee, the tuition amount, the books and kit, that is the total tuition. The tuition is just the amount, okay? Listen, the tuition is just the tuition. Now, I want to break this down. A lot of times we need to know how much per hour it costs to go to school. Now, to know how much per hour it costs to go to school, this is what you got to do. You're going to have to take the total amount right here where it just has tuition, not total tuition, but tuition. Tuition, now look at this, and y'all can write this down. The tuition right here, $8,500. And y'all really need to get this because NACCAS, they'll ask you some of these questions too, depending on which evaluator you have. Tuition divided by the number of hours, 1,500 hours. That comes to $5.66 per hour. I'm gonna break that down because some of y'all missed that. So they may ask you, how much does it cost per hour to go to school? It's the tuition, look at this, tuition, $8,500 divided by how many hours? 1,500. That's how much it costs per hour. Now, the reason why you need to know this, if a student enrolls in your school and they have transfer hours, imagine if they have 1,400 transfer hours, meaning they only need to do 100 hours at your school. How do we know how much to charge them? Because we would do the total, this tuition right here, just the tuition, 8,500 divided by 1,500 hours, $5.66. Now think about this, $5.66 times 100 hours. However many hours they need is one. If they need 100 times 100, that's $566.66 plus application fee, $100, books and kit if they need that. That will be the total tuition. Now let's break this down even more. Looking at this, very important that you see this. This has to be on there. Transfer, reentry hours accepted. If they don't have any, listen to this very closely because a lot of school owners are getting this messed up when NACCAS comes to visit their school. If that doesn't pertain to you, put an NA or draw a line right here. Accept it. If it does not pertain to you, NA, draw a line. Do not leave anything blank on this contract. I repeat, do not leave anything blank on the contract. And now people gonna ask you why? Because NACCAS says so, that's why. All right, now, So you want to fill in everything. Contract begins. That's the date that the student is going to start. Contract ends. That's the date that they should be finished with all of their hours. Number of hours contracted. That's how many hours they must complete. So if they had transfer hours of 1,400 and it's a 1,500 hour course, it's only 100 contracted hours. If they have no hours, you put 1,500 right there, if that's the total number of clock hours. Now, student is scheduled to attend a total of how many hours per week? Is it 30 full-time, 20 part-time, 15? Well, what are your hours? So that's something that we need to all know about. Now, next, going down here, contract costs and payment terms. Student and sponsor, if applicable, agree to pay. School name. All you got to worry about right here is put that school name, your school name. All right. Going on down. I'm going to show you something else. The school will charge an additional. This right here, $10 per hour. You could charge $20 per hour when they go over the amount of hours. And when I say when they go over the amount of hours, meaning you just can't have students just lingering around. They're not graduating on time or whatever. You need to be charging them overtime. That way they can go ahead and get on up out of there. Okay, now, so this could be $20 an hour, $30 an hour, $5 an hour, whatever you want to charge. The transcript fee, you could charge $50 for this, $25. Now, your application fee with NACCAS, they don't want you charging over $100. So you keep that there. All right, now, this right here, the school will charge application. If someone transfers to your school, charge them that $100. If a student is terminated, withdrawals or whatever, they want to come back after 30 days, you can charge them the $50. Termination, you can charge them $100 right there. Go on down. Leave all this stuff in here. Don't mess with that. Application fee, non-refundable. Now, one thing where people mess up, they may have this named up here at the top, enrollment fee right here, and then they may have down here, application fee. All of this has to be in sync. If this says application fee right here, where I'm highlighting, it must say application fee up here, okay? Right there. Now, the next thing, going down, because a lot of people get this contract wrong. They get it all messed up. Fill this out. If this does not pertain to you, put an NA or draw a line. Student signature. Guardian and sponsor. Now, if they're under 18, the parent is going to have to sign right here, if applicable. Now, student signature, make sure they date it. If this does not pertain, you're going to put NA or draw a line. A lot of people mess up right there. Going to the next page of the contract or the enrollment agreement. School name here. Put your school name there. That's it. Going on down. Look over here. We can go on down. All this has to be in here. All of this. Don't be taking any of that stuff out, because this is going to protect you. If they try to take you to court, look, may change the kit, contents, textbooks, dress code, will grant a diploma. Now look at this. When they have successfully completed all phases of study, required tests, practical assignments, passed all the tests, practical examination, completed all exit paperwork. They made all the payments and debts owed to the school. So you don't have to release the hours if they haven't paid you. So with this enrollment agreement, it's going to protect you against those students, because you're going to have some students that are going to try you. They're going to be hard-headed. They're going to try to take you to court. They're going to try to call state board on you. They're going to try to sue you. They'll try to do anything. This legal binding contract is going to protect you. So it's very important that you fill this out completely, have that student sign it. Because once they sign this, they done sign their life away. It's just like when you go to the doctor you initialing here and signing there, you done signed your life away. Okay? So we're gonna keep going. Look, student agrees. That student is not gonna read all this. They got to pay all the school and state fees and tuition, provide all required admission. They got to do everything. Y'all can read all this fine print whenever you're free. Talks about the refund policy, what they're entitled to, what you're entitled to. Now, make sure that the student initials this. A lot of times school owners miss this. Make sure they initial it. Go on to the next page. Put the school name. Here's the refund policy. Going on down. Make sure that student prints their name, I, and put their name right there. I, Dr. Lake, Lisa, Michelle, Nivron, Paris, Tanisha, Veronica, Zandra, Anthony, Charles, Courtney, Deborah, Erica, Jackson. Make sure they put their name, their student name right here. Put your school name right here. Make sure that student signs it and puts the correct date. It must be dated before they start school, on the day that they start. Right here, if they're under 18, their parent or somebody's gonna have to sign and date. If they are over 18, you're gonna put NA here, NA there. Or draw a line. Sign your name here, John, and date it. Make sure these dates match up, okay? We're gonna go up here. If you don't have them to fill this document out, something's wrong with you. It's very important that you have them to fill that out. Another thing I'm gonna put right here is, let me go back here. So what we're gonna put here, we're gonna put the date, signature, and we're gonna make this smaller. The date. So y'all gonna have this already ready. We don't want it bold. Make it a little smaller. A little bit smaller. Now, y'all are good to go. I'll scoot this out. Okay? So, what we did, we just covered this enrollment agreement. Most school owners don't get this enrollment agreement right. People that are not in the program, 99.9% of the time, they're not going to have all of this. What's going to happen? NACCAS is going to come in and they're going to fail with this contract because they're not going to have the correct contract. Okay? So it's very important. And NACCAS has a checklist that you must complete when you're applying for accreditation to put in an institution of self-study. And it's probably about anywhere from 30 to 40 things that you have to check off on here that NACCAS is checking for. So what we've done now, we have covered this enrollment agreement. All right. You have one of these in the back office, but I'm gonna upload this one because NACCAS added maybe one or two things on here that was not on the last enrollment agreement. Okay, now. All right, so we know to put the school name, address, city, state, zip. Now, this is the student orientation checklist. You must do an orientation before the student starts school. Why do you have to do orientation? Because NACCAS says so, and plus, the student needs to know everything before they start, because a lot of times what these students are going to do, they're going to tell you, I didn't know this, or the school owner did not tell me this. They have a history of having amnesia. So now, even if they try to take you to court, you're going to have students try to call state board, especially if you got one of them smart students. I'm gonna call corporate on you or whoever, the state board or the government of NACCAS. Look, give them the phone. Here is the number. Call them. That's what I used to tell the students. Matter of fact, I had a number up on the board. Call them. Matter of fact, use my phone. So it does not matter if they do that because you did this student orientation checklist and it has everything on there. Student name, program they're in, the date. This date must be before they start school. Make sure you do that before they start school. It could be on the same date that they start school, but make sure you do it beforehand. Now, I have received information concerning the following topics during my orientation. This right here, you make them check all of these. You make them check every last one of them. Program objectives, desired student characteristics, job opportunities in the chosen field, the program and course outlines, course length schedules, license requirements, general school policies, clocking procedures. You make sure they just check all of that off. Go over all this. This is in your catalog. Make sure they sign it and date it. Very important. It goes in the folder. What is this? This is a student orientation checklist. Because I'm telling you, if you don't have the students to do this, and if you don't do that orientation, when something happens, or they tell NACCAS, well, they didn't tell me this. And when NACCAS comes to your school, they're going to get a student, they're going to interview a couple of students in private. Well, did they show you this? Did they tell you this before you started? Them students going to say no, because they don't know. They're not going to even remember. So now, after that, the inspector's going to come out. Hey, Ms. Whitson, Ms. Deborah, Ms. Rodriguez, Janella, what we need to know Lisa's folder. Give us Lisa's folder. And they're going to check because they already know how students are. And so if their student tells them that you didn't do this, you didn't do that, this right here is going to cover you. You went over all the orientation. So this right here is the student orientation checklist. And when NACCAS comes, they're going to check every last one of these. If you got one of them missing, guess what? They're going to know. All of these on here, they must be there. All right, now, we're going to keep going. Pre-enrollment, receipt of information. What is this? This means that pre-enrollment, before they enroll, you went over all of this with the student. And what I would do, I would record this one time going over all of this. And I'd have them students to watch that video because we're in a digital world now. We have technology. You're going to get tired of going through this, repeating yourself every week, every month. Do it one time, record it, have them to watch it. I mean, it's just like when you go out the country and you go jet skiing or whatever, they had us to watch a little 5-minute film or whatever. And then we had to sign a document saying that we watched it. So now look at this. Program, the date. This is going to be the same date as that orientation checklist. I have received written information concerning the following topics prior to signing my enrollment agreement. You don't went over the school catalog, graduation rates, school licensure rates, everything that's on here. Prerequisite for employment, state required information, satisfactory academic progress policy, all that's in your catalog. Student gonna sign and date it. Put it in the folder. Okay? Pre-enrollment receipt. NACCAS is gonna want that. This is registration, non-refundable. Whether they start or not, it's non-refundable. Put your school name, very simple, and you can alter this if you want, but this is just a basic one, getting information. All right, registration fee, non-refundable. See that? It's non-refundable. All right, this was pretty simple. Make sure all work performed by supervised students. Make sure you got to have this signed on the clinic floor. Put this on the clinic floor, all work performed by supervised students. All of your business cards, postcards, advertisement, flyers, everything, it must have all work performed by supervised students. On my business cards, I had it real small. NACCAS does not have any rules and regulations on the font size. So I had mine real small, where you had to have like a magnifying glass and look at it like that to read it, because they didn't have any font specifications. So I had it small, and that's a requirement. So I want you all to know that. Also, when NACCAS comes to inspect, they're gonna want to see all your advertising materials. Most schools don't have all work performed by supervised students. A lot of them don't, so NACCAS is gonna tell you, you're gonna have to get that on your advertisements, business cards, postcards, etc. And you gotta have this on the clinic floor. Now, you wanna have a kit list. Every program, whether it's barber, Cosmo, nails, aesthetics, massage therapy, lash tech, whatever it is, you want to have your kit list. Now, on your kit list, make sure at the very end of your kit list, just put a notation, I have received all of the above in my kit. Have the student sign it, date it. That's what you want to do. So whatever y'all got in y'all's kits, type it up line by line. At the very end, I, such and such, acknowledge that I have received everything on the above list for my kit. They sign it, date it, because they will tell you, I didn't get this in my kit. Well, you didn't give me this. Look, you signed it right here. You got everything from this kit. That's another thing y'all need to do. Now, everybody is probably gonna have a different kit list, because everybody has different things that you offer, you school owners, but that's something that you want to do. This enrollment agreement addendum. What is an enrollment agreement addendum? Now, you're gonna have a lot of students that may start out full-time, but then they may have a job or whatever, and they may want to switch to part-time. So if a student started off full-time and then they want to switch to part-time, you're going to have to do an addendum, meaning they're going to have to fill this out because they schedule change. Everything is self-explanatory. Schedule change from part-time to full-time. Now, if they went from part-time and changed to full-time, that means they're going to speed up. They're going to graduate quicker. If they went from full-time to part-time, that means their original enrollment agreement on their contract date that they're supposed to graduate is going to be later, because they went from full-time to part-time. A leave of absence can last from 0 to 6 months. Now, this 6 months can't go past 6 months. If it does, you got to withdraw them. So if they're going to be out a long time, have them to fill out this leave of absence. All right, begins this time, ends that time. They fill that out. So that's very important. So I want to go over that with you. All right, so if they request a leave of absence, you just basically have them to fill this out. Put the date, make sure the student puts their name right here, request a leave of absence, put the school name here. Everything is already laid out for you all. I will return to school on such and such date. The reason why I'm requesting this leave of absence, I'm sick or I got a job or whatever, have the student sign, date, school official, sign, date, anticipated date of return. So that's a leave of absence. Y'all already have these documents laid out. And the great thing about it, the wording and verbiage is here. Now, you can try to do this yourself if you're not in the program, but what's going to happen, NACCAS is going to come out, you're not going to be in compliance. And I'm going to share something with y'all. They're very picky, A-type personalities. They're very picky. And anybody that's been through a NACCAS inspection, you all would know that. Right, there's a full training on this SAP, full training. But if it's a 1,500-hour course, you're going to do evaluation at 450, 900, 1,200. Okay, if it's an 1,800-hour course, it'll be at 450, 900, 1,350. If it's a 600-hour course, it'd be one at 300, actual hours. There's a difference in actual hours and scheduled hours. I'll break that down. If they're doing 30 hours a week, they're scheduled to do 30 hours per week. 4 weeks in a month, that's 120 hours per month. That's what they were scheduled to do. But what if they only did 95 hours? Actual hours is 95, what they actually were in school. Scheduled hours is what they were scheduled. But remember, on a 1,500-hour program, you're going to do one of these SAPs, Satisfactory Academic Progress Reports, at 450 actual hours. Actual hours is the actual hours they were in school. Now, scheduled hours. This is something that trips up a lot of school owners. Just say they're on a 30-hour week schedule, 120 hours per month. That's what they're scheduled. Now, just say they missed time or whatever. They missed several weeks. And when they hit 450 actual hours, because they missed so many weeks or whatever, they had, let's say, 600 scheduled hours. Now, I know I just lost over half of you all. So basically what we're going to do, just say they've been in school 5 months. 5 months times 120 hours. That's 600 scheduled hours. Now, just say they didn't get their 450 hours until the 6th month. Well, why didn't they get their 450 actual hours until the 6th month? Because they probably missed some days. They missed some weeks. So they were scheduled for 120 hours per month, but they missed a lot of weeks. So the 6th month, when they got the 5th month is when they actually hit their 450 hours. But they had 600 scheduled hours. So that's 600 scheduled hours, 450 actual hours. That's when we were supposed to do the SAP. Okay? But we got to know the cumulative attendance very closely. Write this down. How do we get the cumulative attendance? You have to go 450 actual hours. So write actual hours, 450 divided by how many scheduled hours they had. Actual hours divided by the 600 scheduled hours, we're just making up these numbers, equals 75% cumulative attendance. A lot of people get all this wrong. The cumulative academic grade, if they had taken 3 tests, and one of them was 100, another one was 100, another one was 90. So that's a total of 290 points divided by the 3 tests, 96.6% cumulative grade point average. Now, there are a lot of software systems, Prestige, Fame, Smart System, Discovery Pro, Genesis. I mean, there are a lot of software systems that will keep up with this automatically. It will tally everything up. When they hit 450 hours at their checkpoints, it'll automatically alert you. You can click a button and it'll do all the calculations and print it out. When they hit 900 hours, 1,200, however, whatever the checkpoints are at, it would automatically do that for you. But starting out, when I first opened back in 1998, I didn't have any money. I didn't have money to buy a program either. So what I had to do this by hand. And that wasn't a lot because I have a lot of students. But I just want to share this with you all. Going on down. Student is making satisfactory academic progress. Most NACCAS requirements, their minimum requirements for attendance percentage is 67%. NACCAS minimum grade point average is 70%. Now, some state boards, that may be higher. So I want to share that with y'all. Well, I'm going to make mine 80%. Okay, that's you. Ms. Velma taught me to have the bare minimum. All right, why? Okay, what if you done set your standards high and the attendance percentage is 80% that you done set yours? And your grade point average is 90%, although minimum is 70% with NACCAS. But if you put that at your standards, now just say you got financial aid and you got 10 students qualify for full Pell, full student loan, and they all hit 450 hours. That means you're gonna get 3,000 for the Pell, 4,700 max for the student loans. So that's 7,700, and you had 10 students to hit. That's 77,000. If they're not meeting those requirements, guess what? They're gonna be put on probation. You're probably not gonna get paid. Think about that. So that's why you want to have the minimum standards. So I wanted to share that with y'all. Everything else on here is self-explanatory. Down here, have the student to sign, school sign, date, put it in a file. Okay? Very important. So that's the SAP. You have to do current student surveys. Whatever program course of study, whether it's Barber, Dell's, aesthetics, whatever you're teaching, you have to do current student surveys. So throughout the year, just walk in the classroom, have students to fill out these surveys. And then just put it in a folder. One of these folders. A yellow folder, and just put 2022 current student surveys. So when NACCAS comes to inspect, they're going to ask, hey, do you do current student surveys? And that's how NACCAS works. They'll ask you questions. It's almost like a woman trying to catch a man. You know how they do, guys. They ask you a question. And when they ask questions, they already know the answer. They're just waiting to hear what you're going to say. So, do you do current student surveys? Yes. What if you don't? You messed up, because now you can't produce them. So all you got to do is go to the classroom and do the survey. Just have them fill it out. It don't matter how they answer. You don't care how they answer. Why? Because you did your orientation. That's why. Do you understand the grading criteria that are used by the instructors? They give it a practical grade. They may say no. Okay, well, you went over the school catalog with them in orientation. All right, so that's the current student survey. When the student is getting ready to graduate, you got to do the graduation survey. Simple as that. They got all their hours, bring them in the office, have them fill this out. Okay, sign it, date it, put it in the file. NACCAS is going to ask this. There's so many schools out there that don't do this, that they're not doing this. We meet a lot of them. And once I send them this laundry list, a checklist, and they don't have it, okay, well, we're going to send you the correct documents and you need to get busy. Go into the classroom, have them students fill it out. Your graduates, you better call them back to the school, a couple of them or whatever. Or as of now, let's just start being in compliance. So this is the graduate exit survey. Okay, employers are graduates. When their student graduates and they find a job, you don't have to drive over there, just call. Hey, Veronica, is so-and-so working there? Jackson, is Johnny working there? Hillary, Anthony, Candace, Cecilia, Charles, Courtney, Deborah, Denny, Erica, is Janella working there? John, Karen, Lucretia, Laquina, Dr. Lake, Lisa, is Michelle, Leonie, Devron, is Mark working there? Paris, Quincy, Razor Lee, Regina, Richard, what's going on, my man Richard? Ron Curtis out there in Pennsylvania, Tanisha, Tracy Williams, is James working there? Simple as that, Zandra. So all you gotta do is the phone call, date it, the business name where they're working, put the phone number. You can change this up. If it's nails, swap that out to the encapsulate and all that other stuff y'all do. If it's aesthetics, put some things that they have to do for aesthetics, massages or whatever. And then that's it. Put that in the file. Now, NACCAS will call a couple of people and is so-and-so working out? Even if they say that they don't work anymore, it doesn't matter. They were working there when you call. Okay. This withdrawal record and settlement calculation worksheet. Y'all need to listen very closely because this is another one that gets school owners messed up. When somebody quits, terminates, whatever, if they don't finish the course, it's 100% mandatory that you fill out this form. But what if they don't owe the school money? What if they've already paid us off? It does not matter. Whether you owe them money, they owe you money, or nobody owes nobody no money. You don't owe them money, they don't owe you money. You still have to fill this out completely. Okay? You get that in your head because a lot of y'all not doing that. A lot of school owners don't do that. Now, I'm not going to go through this refund calculation because that's a whole nother class. I got videos on that, and I have a example for you to follow that tells you the hours elapsed. It tells you how to get the tuition percentage earned in program, books and kit unreturned property. It tells you all of this stuff down here. It breaks it down kindergarten style. Yes, it does. So it's very important because NACCAS is going to, because before NACCAS comes to your school, you're going to have to send a list. They're going to want a list of the last 12 months of students that graduated, the currently attending students, and the last 12 months, a list of students that withdrew. And they're going to highlight certain ones and they're going to want to follow. And the ones that withdrew, this is the number one thing they're looking for. And then down here, if a refund was applicable, meaning if you were supposed to give a student a refund and you didn't, that's a no-no. If you were supposed to give them a refund and you did, you should have a copy of the check. If the student owed you money, then chances are you're probably not going to get it, most likely. And it'll show on here, but that's okay. You did this document. So it's very important that y'all do this. And we have a full training on that. This is a new survey that they came out to be completed by the instructor. Name, program taught. All right. So you fill this out. Fill that out. Sign it and date it. Okay. Because this is going in your institutional self-study. What is an institutional self-study? That's the ISS. That's that 300 to 400 page document that you're going to have to submit to NACCAS. Even if you don't know how to do it, it doesn't matter. Depending on what program, we do that. Now, I want to show you all some other things. Okay, this is the instructor evaluation, meaning you have to evaluate your instructors at least once a year. Instructor evaluated, put their name, hire date. That's the date that you hired them. Evaluation date. You have to do the evaluation date on the same day every year. It can be, you can pick a date out of the year that you can remember, or you could do their anniversary date. So once an instructor has worked at your location for at least 12 months, you have to have one of these. So basically, NACCAS is going to look at the hire date, the date that they came in. If it's been 12 months and you haven't, the instructor don't have one of these, that's not good. You need to have that. And then going down here, just check these. If you want, just check them. You can put NA, whatever. And then this right here, evaluator signature. Well, what is the evaluator signature? If you're just say the school owner and you're evaluating me, okay, you're the evaluator. Okay, I'm the employee, so I sign the signature. All right, if you're the only employee there, get somebody, the secretary or somebody to evaluate you. Then sign date. All right, this is mandatory because you got to have these documents in the institutional self-study. And I know a lot of y'all saying, well, I'm not going to do this and do that. All these documents that I showed you all must be in the institutional self-study, the ISS. And there are other documents too. But what I did today, I went over some of the important documents that you need when operating your school.